Greetings, youngling. You are here because you wish to learn the ways of the lightsaber, how to use it, how to defend yourself with it. I am your master. I will be guiding you through a beginner's process of how to use and handle a lightsaber for your own enjoyment and for your betterment and for your physical exercise. Being a Jedi means being in good physical condition and being able to use your weapon well. Before we begin defensive and offensive techniques, we will first be discussing the lightsaber and any safety equipment that we might need in order to best enjoy our experience. To this end, we need to understand how you will be using your lightsaber, whether it is for your own personal practice in solo or whether you intend to use these in a combat setting. Depending on which choice that is, it alters which type of lightsaber that you will want to use. I will demonstrate to you a small sampling of some available lightsabers. In a galaxy far, far away, a Jedi uses the Force to find a lightsaber crystal, which either tells the Jedi if they are to be a Jedi Consular, or a Guardian, or even a Jedi Sentinel. The Jedi uses the Force to assemble their lightsaber, focusing the crystal, tuning the crystal, and assembling the lightsaber itself. Now in our galaxy, we have a variety of lightsabers available to us of different models, different purposes, and different materials. Part of today's lesson will be understanding the different lightsaber types that there are available. The first category of lightsaber that we'll talk about are toy lightsabers, which are available for purchase for younglings. Toy lightsabers come in different sizes and shapes. Some of them include a Shoto size. They are short, with a durable plastic blade that fully retracts into the hilt. It is a short blade, so it's not very useful for perhaps older beginners, but it is useful for smaller beginners. But as the blade is designed to retract into the hilt is often oversized and larger in diameter than a standard lightsaber is. Other lightsabers include those with light and sound. This particular lightsaber is made of plastic, as many toy versions are. The body and the blade are made of plastic. This type uses a telescoping blade, which can be flung to extend the blade. It is battery powered to create light and sound. It also contains motion sensors to imitate the use of sound, of movement. The blade is of a decent length, suitable for a youngling, but the blade is of a thinner plastic that can easily bend or shatter if this weapon is used aggressively. This weapon is very good and useful for solo practice, but not so practical for a combat situation. There are other variations of toy lightsabers, such as those that can be combined with other hilts to create double-bladed lightsabers, or cross-guard lightsabers, or those even at differing angles. There are some that have spring-loaded blades, so that way with the push of a button, the blade can be extended, imitating the effect of a lightsaber as seen on screen. It's important to understand that these toy versions of lightsabers can be useful for solo practice and be useful for pretend and for costuming, but they may or may not be suitable for hard or intense fighting situations or sparring. Aside from the short Shoto blades with the thicker walled blades, these toy lightsabers are useful more for pretend. The next category of lightsaber are collectible lightsabers. These are designed of much higher quality materials, perhaps some plastic, some rubber, but mostly of metal. With a blade, a plastic blade, which may or may not be permanently attached to the hilt of the lightsaber, and it uses light and sound. Many of them commonly use a string of LEDs. This particular one uses a different and older technology, and as such, its usefulness has faded over time. It's not as bright as it was when I had acquired it originally. This is a replica model of Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber from Attack of the Clones. The sound is significantly better than those of a toy. The blade is longer, of a fuller length, approximately 35 to 36 inches in length. However, a lightsaber like this is not necessarily suitable for dueling. It is useful more for collecting and for pretending, cosplay, as it said, costume play. It does feature impact sounds, but it does not mean that it is sturdy. This lightsaber is meant for decorative purposes and not for combat. The particular lightsaber that I've demonstrated is part of the Master Replica lines of lightsabers. There are also official licensed products such as the Black Series, which is similar to these, using a string LED blade. You can also construct your own or purchase them from Disney theme parks, such as Savi's Workshop. Those may be suitable for light dueling, more so than the one that I have demonstrated for you, but not necessarily for heavy, intense fighting. The last category of lightsabers that we will discuss are combat-grade sabers. These are available from custom saber manufacturers, and there are many of them who provide character prop replicas or manufacturers' own personal designs or custom creations. Some companies will allow you to describe a product and they will create it for you at some cost. This is certainly more expensive than simple toy sabers, but these are available for those who wish to engage in more intense lightsaber combat with a stronger and more sturdy, suitable weapon. This is an example of a combat-grade lightsaber available from custom saber shops. It can be purchased as an empty hilt with no electronics in it whatsoever, the purpose being either for display or for the purchaser to install their own electronics in it themselves, rather than those that might be provided by the manufacturer or the reseller. Now, this particular lightsaber uses only light but no sound, like this. We would call this a stunt saber because it only has light. Because it only has light and limited electronics, it makes it suitable for heavy dueling particularly, because there is no electronics aside from a light inside to risk damage from excessive use. Now this is an example of a lightsaber that uses light and sound. This is a prop replica from a custom saber shop. This lightsaber, as you can hear, uses light and sound. It is also motion sensitive. It can be loaded with a variety of sounds and such, and different saber effects. Now these lightsabers come with polycarbonate blades. The polycarbonate blades are hard plastic that is very durable and hard to break. It allows you to engage in intense lightsaber combat without risking damage to the product. It could be a simple empty blade, as in the case of these here, because the light for the saber is contained inside the housing of the hilt. However, there are some blades, commonly called Neopixel, where a string of LEDs extends along the length of the blade. And without the blade, the lightsaber would make no sound. Essentially, these operate in our galaxy much like a flashlight, or a flashlight with sound. These blades can be purchased as a lightweight or a mid-grade thickness, or a heavier thickness, more suitable especially for heavy dueling. You may also find that the lightsaber blades can come in different tips, either pointed in this one, as in the Clone Wars or prequel style, or in a rounded tip, as in the classic style. The blades can come in different lengths, such as a Shoto size. This is a 24-inch blade. which is useful for younglings in particular, or perhaps those who might want to use a two-handed style and use a shorter blade as a extra defensive or countermeasure. And this is a standard 32-inch blade, which would be suitable for older younglings, for those of perhaps age 10 to 12, or for some adults as well, those who are perhaps less than 6 feet. There are also longer blades for those of taller adults. This one in particular is a 36-inch blade, in my green one here. For taller adults, perhaps those over 6 foot. Now again, what I've shown you are just a small sampling of different lightsabers that are available, or perhaps some that you may have as well. If you have no lightsaber, that is not a problem for this class, as many beginners don't even use a lightsaber in their first lessons. If you have none, you may use a lightweight rod, perhaps a dowel rod purchased from a craft store, or perhaps a short broom handle may be useful as well. Something that is of an appropriate length. If you need to, you can measure half of your wingspan from your tips to the center of your chest to find out approximately what length of blade or rod might be suitable for you. For the purposes of our class, that will be perfectly satisfactory. So, a question for you that you may post your responses in the comments of the class are, what kind of lightsaber do you have, if you have one, so that I may know what it is that you're working with. So we have taken a brief survey of the different lightsabers that are available to us for purchase, depending on if you are a costumer, or a hobbyist, a collector, or one who wishes to engage in fencing combat. Now, in the case of those, particularly those who wish to engage in fencing combat, some considerations need to be made for safety. Proper safety gear is an important aspect of making sure that your experience in a dueling situation is safe. There are at least 2 different primary defenses that you should have if you were to engage in combat. One of them is to protect your hands. Now, these gloves have lots of padding on them, lots of armor on them to protect my hands from strong hits, because those lightsaber blades, at least the polycarbonate ones, are extremely durable. So it fully protects both my fingers, my knuckles, my palms, and my wrists from intense fighting, which you may not be engaging in. So perhaps a more simple work glove may be useful for you, whether it's leather or whether it's padded. Working gloves that can be found in hardware stores would be perfectly suitable, I imagine. Another thing to make sure that you're protecting is your head. Now, for those who wish to engage in lightsaber combat eventually, headgear is important. A fencing mask of mesh will be perfectly suitable to protect your head and yet allow you full visibility. Now, as optional, you may want to consider body gear, again, for those who are going to be fencing with any sort of intensity. Body gear could include simply a heavy padded coat to help to diffuse the impact of a lightsaber hit. Or perhaps sports gear may be useful for you to protect your joints or to protect your chest. You can see in instances like these combatants protect their head and their arms, their hands, and even their legs. Because in lightsaber combat, any hit counts. So my second question for this class is, what sort of protective gear do you have, if any? This weapon is your life. That is the mantra of a Jedi. The lightsaber is a Jedi's connection to the Force through the crystal that he found, that the Force called to him. And through it, a Jedi focuses themselves to the task at hand, not just for combat, but also for defense of those who cannot defend themselves. The true job of the Jedi is not attack, but for knowledge and defense. In this course, we will learn first defense before we learn offensive techniques. But in this first class, it is important that we understand what kind of weapon we have and how to be safe in using it. So please respond in the class with the equipment and the lightsaber that you have, if any. We will begin the next class in the following week, where we will begin defensive techniques. Until that time, may the Force be with you.